Now, we all know about the potentially harmful effects of TikTok, but while everyone is panicking about it, there's another app that's lurking in its shadows, and it's quietly destroying an entire generation of teenagers, and that is Snapchat. Weirdly enough, this app was originally designed by a team of frat dudes for the purpose of sending inappropriate photos. They called their idea Deletion Photos app. Today, this Deletion Photos app has over 383 million active users worldwide, which is a number larger than the entire population of the United States. And 62% of that are teens between 13 and 17 years old. 62%. And these users are not just casual users, as 5 billion snaps are being sent every single day, meaning that the majority of the user base is heavily addicted to Snapchat. And it's no wonder, as the developers of this app utilize a wide array of psychological tricks to keep your eyes glued to the screen. And with their recent addition of AI, things might have just gotten a lot worse. So if you're using Snapchat or someone close to you does, make sure to watch this video to the very end, as we will break down exactly how Snapchat manages to engage so many users and the dark side of this app that no one seems to be talking about. Now, instead of rambling for 30 minutes about what makes Snapchat so addictive, why don't I just show you? So when you open up the app, you are immediately greeted with your camera turned on. This instantly lets you know that Snapchat is all about sharing photos and videos at the moment, although it also has texting capabilities. All of these tools to communicate are a first reason why Snapchat is so addictive to youth: social connection. Humans are social animals. We all know this, but when it comes to people who are growing and developing, the social element is way more important. This is Erik Erikson, a German-American psychologist who's well known for his psychological development theory. According to the psychologist, there are 8 stages of psychosocial development, and the one that is relevant to us in this video is number 5, adolescence. Erik Erikson talks about conflicts, and that at each stage of development, we're tasked with either solving a certain conflict or suffering the consequences accompanying it. The adolescent stage, which is around 13 to 21 years old, is about solving the conflict between identity and role confusion. In order to successfully develop an identity, a teenager must achieve a sense of identity in occupation, sex roles, politics, and religion. The most important event for this identity development: peer relationships. That's why the social element is extremely important to youth, and is one of the reasons why it can seem that people who are teenagers tend to isolate themselves from their family to favor more peer-to-peer relationships. All of this brings us back to Snapchat, an artificial social environment, and why it's so addictive to young people. Keeping updated on what other people are doing, sending photos and videos of what you're up to, checking notifications, checking the map, your friend requests. These things are very appealing to the teenage brain, and even some adults struggle with it as well. However, Snapchat has this one thing that no other social media platform has that adds a whole other level of addiction to it: streaks. Streaks are basically a way to track how often you communicate with another person. It works like this: you send a photo or video, what is called a snap, and that other person replies with their own snap as well. If you maintain this communication once every 24 hours for 3 days, you then receive a fire emoji with the number 3 next to it and next to the other person's username. If you continue to snap at each other at least once per day, this number will keep growing, and that's essentially how a streak works. Now, you might be thinking, well, what do these streaks do? And the answer to that is absolutely nothing. It's just a cheap psychological manipulation tactic of adding this video game element to a social media platform. Even so, streaks are a big part of what make Snapchat addictive. You want to keep logging in and day out, not just to communicate, but just simply to keep the streaks alive. And actually, there are different emojis for different streak milestones, like, for example, the 100% emoji when you reach 100 consecutive days of streaking. But that's not all. When your streak is about to expire, you get a notification from Snapchat, further alluring the young user to keep using the app. Again, these streaks mean nothing, but to a young and still developing mind, these streaks are a way to validate their social connections and feel a sense of belonging. Just think about a young person who maybe as a consequence is going to lose their phone for a day, and then there's an explosion and there's a huge tantrum. Why? Because they won't be able to continue their Snapchat streak. Streaks feel important because in a way you were showing your friends that you were thinking about them. In some cases, people may even gauge their entire friendships based on the size of their streak, meaning that they will do whatever it takes to make sure that they can log on and stay active. But guess what happens every time they log on to keep their streak? They get distracted by the discovery feed as well as stories. For Snapchat, the purpose is to get you to open the app to maintain your streak, but then you'll get lost in the rest of the app itself. Speaking of stories, that is another reason why Snapchat is so addictive. Each story shared by users only lasts for 24 hours. While on other platforms like IG, it may not be a big deal, but on Snapchat, it actually is, as this platform feels a lot more personal and you would usually connect with your deeper circle, unlike on Instagram. Meaning that the content that people would share on their Snapchat stories tends to be a lot more personal as well. This creates a deep feeling of FOMO, or fear of missing out, as you don't want to miss what your friends are sharing. Snapchat was also the first app to introduce separate stories for close friends, where users could post even more personal content as only the closest friends would be able to see it. Whereas Instagram tends to be more of a feed for the public, Snapchat tends to be more of a feed for privacy. And this can intensify the FOMO feeling, as being added to someone's private stories would deepen their connection and make them feel special. This amount of control over who sees your content is probably one of the reasons why Snapchat is so successful. And that's why so many teens are flocking to the platform, as it's a way to be a bit more private and keep content away from your parents. And this can obviously extend to young adults as well. Because you have full control over who you share your content with, it makes it easy for people to create safe spaces for themselves to share anything without judgment. Now, the last mechanic that makes Snapchat so addictive is their latest addition. And in my opinion, it's the most concerning. It is MyAI. Snapchat just added a ChatGPT powered AI to everyone's friend list. In-app, this chatbot looks just like any other user. It even has customization features to give it an avatar that you like. You simply chat to it like you would with any of your real life friends. And through the power of ChatGPT, it responds back to you. It's presented as being your friend, someone you can talk to about anything and everything. And many users are doing exactly that. They are spending their entire days chatting to this AI, as it has gotten to the point where it can carry on conversation without any issues. The Snapchat CEO said this is just the beginning, and that the big idea is that in addition to talking to our friends and family every day, we're going to talk to AI every day as well. Now, if this isn't concerning enough, some users are reporting that the AI knows personal information about them without even interacting before, meaning that it's likely pulling information from your other activities. Now, when asked about it, the AI will simply gaslight you that it doesn't know anything. And it wouldn't be so surprising, as Snapchat already had a lawsuit over breaching user privacy. Some experts are also speaking out over their concerns with the Snapchat AI, saying that it could present serious issues with users going to it for mental health advice, as the AI will usually reinforce the user's confirmation bias, making users more addicted to it and seeking mental assistance from AI rather than professional services. As with professional services, there's always a risk of hearing something that you don't want to hear. When the user base has so many teens, you can see how this can be highly problematic. We've actually seen this on Snapchat as well, where a lot of young people are now self-diagnosing through social media content. Now that we've covered the addictive nature of Snapchat, there are also some dangers that you must know about this app if you want to keep yourself safe. Number one is the Snap Map. If not disabled, everyone on your friend list can see where you are 24/7. And the Meetup feature can give you the exact directions to get to the user that you are looking for. As you can imagine, there have been many dark stories relating to this, and sometimes parents aren't even aware that their young children are sharing their location 24/7. So if you want to protect yourself, it's very simple. Just turn on ghost mode. Number two are the bot accounts. It's very common for bots to share explicit content to add you and start sending messages. They often target young, vulnerable teens, as they may interact with these bots or even click on the links that they share. Often these links are either scam links or a way for hackers to get into your device. Now, to protect yourself from bots, you can turn your settings so only friends can message you and that random accounts can't add you as a friend. Number three are the privacy concerns. We've touched on this slightly already, but Snapchat has some serious issues with it. There have been multiple breaches already where users' private photos as well as personal information has been leaked, as well as another case where the employees of Snapchat were able to use an external tool to gain access to users' data themselves. And while sending self-deleting images to your friends may feel safe, there are multiple third-party apps that allow notorious users to bypass that and save any snap. To stay safe, don't share anything you wouldn't want the entire internet to see. Number four, and the last one, are the criminals on the app. As the app gives people a sense of anonymity, it has become notorious for sexual predators to find their victims. There are countless cases of predators grooming kids by pretending to be someone who they are not, as well as murder cases. It is definitely important that you're aware of who you are interacting with and keeping yourself safe. To protect yourself from this one, change your privacy settings, don't talk to strangers, and turn on ghost mode. Now, if you've been thinking that Snapchat is a problem for you and you're tired of wasting your time on it, the easiest way to address it is to just delete the app. This Reddit user summed it up perfectly.
Deleted Snapchat a week ago and immediately realized how pointless it is. Was contemplating it for a couple of weeks and I finally bit the bullet and deleted Snapchat around a week ago. It's funny, without Snapchat, you realize who really wants to talk to you when you aren't queued for a streak which half the time isn't really talking anyway, not to mention how little I really care what people are up to in their day-to-day lives. And I mainly mean pointless snaps of food, smoking, partying, etc. It's crazy. We get into the mindset that Snapchat and social media is so important because you don't want to miss a moment, but believe me, you aren't missing anything important. If you're on the fence about it, I say go for it and delete it.
What makes Snapchat so addictive and why, if you are struggling with it or you know someone you are, the easiest way to address it is just to delete it. Now, sure, if you are able to, you can try to moderate your use as well. But if you're watching this video, you need to be the one who sets up moderation rules, as these young people might not see the negative effects of Snapchat and keep using it. This is especially important when it comes to privacy. The main thing is that you or your younger family member develop a healthier source of social connection. Perhaps you could ask your friends to communicate with you through calling, meeting in real life, or less stimulating activities like texting. Remember, what you crave is not the app itself, but the social needs it fulfills. And if you can discover a way to fulfill those needs elsewhere in healthy and balanced ways, then Snapchat becomes obsolete. There are certain ways that Snapchat is gamifying the experience, but you won't miss it if you focus on the true social connection in your life. Now, Snapchat is not the only app designed to keep you hooked. It's just one app in the vast entertainment system that fits in your pocket on your phone. Everybody has a phone nowadays, but can this screen technology be dangerous for us? To find out, watch this video.